That was the question. So Amira Akum, right? So she could go to shul. She was sick enough, right? Say to be right? The question is, is is this matter or not? So Rabbi Shechter thought yes, it was good. She can tell him to go up or go to shul, and Rabbi Ulrich thought not. That's what my friend told me at the time. That's what they thought. Okay. Now, the Ramah writes there in Shimcha Chesif Yud Zayin, the necessities of a child, a young child, are chol l'shem bo sakon. Even though the child is healthy, but a child has a halacha classification of a chol l'shem bo sakana, and you can tell goyim to do things for him on Shabbos. If it's necessary, it helps if his health. So how old is a child? So the Shmir Shabbos writes in Perek Lamed Zayin Halacha Beis, it's 9 or 10. It's 9 or 10, depends upon the child's development. He writes over here, a child until 9 or 10, according to his development, is weak and requires special attention. And therefore, Chazal will make to do for him whatever you can do for someone who's sick enough, whose life is not in danger. If there is a necessity, right? And not only for food preparation, anything else that's no good to his health. Correct? Obviously, if you have other food to give him, he has to go to prepare food. Okay? And then he has there in a footnote that he quotes from the Sosa Shulchan. So if you have a small child, he says to 7 and 8, he's afraid to be it's in the room when it's dark, you have the guy put on a light there. That's what he says. And then he quotes another shita which is slightly different. It's not 9 or 10, as long as he doesn't grown-ups food. He has special food. Now, the truth is, you look around, there are a whole bunch of shitos over here, exactly to what age this. He writes over here, Piskei Teshuvos, the original one, and Shin Chafesh Ostes Zayin writes the different shitos. Some say until he's 2 or 3. It's much younger. Much younger. Quote this in a footnote from the Chazon Ish. Fine. Also, it's quoted from Shlomo Zalman in that way. Then he has, and some say until 6. That's the Tzitz Eliezer. And some say 9. Some say 9. This is the Minchas Yitzchak. That's of Dayan Weiss. And he says, learned out how long is when a child's allowed to start fasting on Yom Kippur. And then he talks about the food, whatever, I don't know. There's different kinds of sheep as to what age you're allowed to rely on. Okay. Next. Regarding this topic, the Meshulchan Aruch writes in Reish Ayin Vav Sif Hey, that if it's cold, you can tell the guy to make a bonfire, put on the heat for a child. This is a Chaber. Chaber writes over in Reish inside Vav Sif Hey. In the cold countries, you can tell a guy to make a bonfire for the small children, and the older adults can also warm up next to it. And then, if it's very cold, a kor gadol, then you can tell the guy to make a fire even for the adult. Because when it's very cold, everybody's sick regarding that. That's considered a health for everybody, and you can tell the guy. But it has to be very cold. That's what he writes over here in the Shulchan Aruch. Okay? Based on this, the Shmir Shabbos has the following halacha. He writes over here in Perek Lamed, halacha Yud Aleph. He writes, you can tell the guy, where am I here? No, to go here. Tell the guy, you can put on a light for somebody who's sick to see what he needs. And he says you can tell him to put out the light so the person who's sick can fall asleep. Right, and then etc. Then he writes, the cold countries, correct, where you suffer from the cold, or where you suffer, or the children there, then he says you can tell the guy to put on the heat. And then he writes, and it's very hot, then you can tell the guy to put on the air conditioner or the fan in order to help somebody who is suffering from the weather conditions. And if the air conditioner was on and the weather changed and now it's freezing inside, right, to the point that it's not healthy for people, then you can tell the guy to turn off the air. That's what he writes over here. Okay, that is all number 1 of the 9. As far as people being sick enough to be in bed, or it's very cold, and children. Okay, next. Number 2 is as follows. Yeshiva Eretz Yisrael. What they learned getting in the yeshiva last year? What did they learn last year in the yeshiva?
Getting, yeah.
Okay, so if you remember, I think it's on Daf Chesed Days, the sugi of Surya there. So it says there, for Yeshiva Eretz Yisrael, Amir al-Akum is mutter, right? So it says over here in Shin Vav, Chaber quotes in Shin Vav, Sif Yud Aleph, if you work, let's say, for a Teres Kohanim, and you can buy a house from a goy on Shabbos, you're allowed to do it. You're allowed to do it. Chaber writes over here, the Gemara there. You can buy a house in Eretz Yisrael from a goy. You can have the goy sign all the documents for you. That's what he writes. And then you tell him you have to pay him. You point this, take it to your house, you point where the money is, and you can pay him. Right? Now, is this an example to all mitzvahs? It's an exception. So most Rishonim hold that what is only about Yishuv Eretz Yisrael, it's a very special mitzvah. But other mitzvahs, this does not apply. The one Rishon who's Meko, Amir al-Akum is mutter for Makom mitzvah is the Baal Eater. The Ran in Shabbos calls the Baal Eater is mutter for all mitzvahs. But this is in general accepted to be a Das Yoch. The Ramah writes over here in Reish Ayin Vav Sif Beis, quotes, some say, he's quoting the Baal Eater, that you can tell the guy to light a candle for a Shabbos meal. Because he's of the opinion, the Baal Eater, that Amir al-Akum is mutter even for real malacha, for malacha in the case of a mitzvah. And based on this, a lot of people are mako to tell the guy to light a candle, to light candles for meals, especially when it comes to Sheva brachas or Sudas Brismila, and nobody protests. Says the Mishnah Berurah, why did nobody protest? We really don't pass in this way. Mutu v'shogim v'ayim v'zidim. If you're not going to listen anyway, better they should do b'shogim, not do b'mezid. Continues the Ramah here. But one should be machmir unless there's a great necessity, because most poskim argue on this. Period. Most poskim argue on this. But he says over here that what? He says over here that you can be make over makom tzarach god. You look in the Mishnah Berurah here. Mishnah Berurah here quotes. Where is the Mishnah Berurah? In Chaf Dalid, Mishnah Berurah quotes the Shalah. The Shalah said no, you can't even be makel and mark tzorach gadol. You have to be machmir even in a tzorach gadol. He saw in very special communities where people were b'nei Torah that people sat in the dark again at the end of Shabbos until they got up to Marav, period. And when the Mahargon Harash used to have shalashunas by him, right? He also, people sat in the dark. Fine. Then he quotes Supreme Megadim over here that Ben Hashmashus he can be make a little bit more. If it's for a mitzvah, Ben Hashmashus. The point is, Machaber says you can make a tzorach gadol. The Shalah doesn't like it. He says you can't be making tzorach gadol. Mishnah Berurah quotes here on Chaf Daled. However, the Mishnah Berurah in another place seems to say there are times you can be make on this. In Shin Vav Os Sivkot Mem Zayin, he writes here as follows. He writes, you can't tell a guy in Shabbos to write you a letter, even for a mitzvah, unless it is a great necessity. And if it's a great necessity, then you tell the guy to write a letter if you want Shabbos. Ramosh is also makel for this. Okay, here's a case over here where they didn't turn off the light in the refrigerator. So he writes over here as follows. They forgot to turn the light off in the refrigerator, correct? So he writes over here, where is this? This is in Orachaim Chelik Beis, Siman Samaches. If the main food they prepared for Shabbos is in the refrigerator, you can have the guy open the refrigerator and unscrew the light bulb. Because this way they'll be able to have, Shabbos meals, right? Period. So he says that's a tzorach gadol. It needs to be makel welcome tzorach gadol. I just want to point out that there's a yesod from Mishnah Brura in Shin Yud Ches in the Sif Dalet, the Dibur excuse me, the Ber Halacha Dibur Maskal Afilu. Whenever there's a machlokas, even though we pass like the machmir, nevertheless, if somebody did it, you can get hanoah from it on Shabbos, rely on the das yoch. Even though we're machmir, not to do something, but if somebody relied and did it, you can be nana from on Shabbos. So the ora, the Baal Eater says it's mutar b'makom mitzvah. You're not supposed to rely on it. If it's a great necessity, then you might be able to rely on it, but otherwise not. But saying you go to somebody's house and they have the guy do this for Shabbos, no, go ahead do this, right? So even though they're not allowed to do it, but you can be nana from it. Why? Because they have the Baal Eater to rely on. Okay. So now that was case number 2. Case number 1, somebody's sick. Case number 2 is Yishuv Eretz Yisrael. Now, this Baal Eater, even though we do not paskin like it, we rely on it in the case of mitzvah d'Rabbi. In the case of a public mitzvah, we rely on it. The Mishnah Brura writes in Reish Ayin Vav Sikot Chafei, the Erev came down on Shabbos. The Erev came down on Shabbos, and you need the guy to fix it. So people might carry, not realizing the Erev is down. This is a Michshol d'Rabbim, and he says over here that what? You can rely on the Baal Eater that what? That have the guy fix the Erev. Right, so here, however, you can tell the guy to fix the Erev, the guy that fell upon down on Shabbos, that the public shouldn't come to carrying on Shabbos, there was no Erev. And the Baal Eater, you can rely on him in order to tell the guy to do it, b'makom mitzvah d'Rabbi. Even though what you're telling the guy to do is melacha d'oraisa. Look at the Shiur Shabbos when he quotes this. Look at the Shiur Shabbos when he quotes it. So he says there, if the guy can do it with only a drabban, instead of tying the string, he can make a bow there that'll hold. The better should do a drabban. But if not, the guy can actually tie a full knot, and if necessary, the pole fell down, the guy can dig in the ground and put up a pole. You tell the guy whatever you have to do in order to fix the Erev. You can find this in Shiur Shabbos and Perek Lamed Halacha Chaf Beis and in Perek Yud Zayin Halacha Chaf Hey. Now, question is how far this had to go. The Mishnah Brura seems to have a stira. He writes over here as follows. First, he writes, you can rely on the Baal Eater, you shouldn't come Rabim Lidei Michshol. But then he writes, a little bit later on, he writes on, you can be makel b'makom mitzvah d'Rabbi. Question is, what if it's not a michshol d'Rabbi, but it is a mitzvah d'Rabbi? So the truth of the matter is, it's hard to tell from over here. It's hard to tell, but the Mishnah Brura writes earlier in Sifkot Chaf Hey, not Sifkot Chaf Hey, that if the chips are down, you can have a goy build a shul on Shabbos. He writes here as follows. To build a shul on Shabbos through a goy, the Magen Avraham says you shouldn't do it. Correct? And even according to the Baal Eater, because then you build it after Shabbos. You don't have to do it on Shabbos. The Baal Eater is making something you have to eat on Shabbos. The Shabbos must put on candle. This you can do after Shabbos. Correct? And you look in the Magen Avraham, he says even though the worker is not being paid for the hours, he's paying for the job. So unless, if you don't let him build it on Shabbos, it could be the shul will never be built. Then you can be makel if you don't pay him for the hours. Right? Fine. Well, and possibly even if you pay for the hours, if there's no other option. The point is, if you have to build a shul and there's no other way to build a shul, then you're allowed to have the goy build it on Shabbos. So it's not only people are going to be nichshal, you don't have it. Also, you're not going to have a shul. You look in Rabbi Ribiad's Lamites Malachos on page 75, and in the footnotes there, in the back 284A and B, it comes out as follows. It goes to Noda Buda that as follows. That it's in the Elah, and all the lights went out. You want about goy light candles so people can dive in the Elah. So the Noda Buda says, Tishma, they didn't say Shemon Esrei yet. That's a Tzorach Harabim. No, you can have the goy light. But if they already dive in Shemon Esrei, so whatever. For the Chazan, maybe they can do something. Not for everybody. They can't say the Slichos and the Piyutim. He says that's not a reason to have a goy do it. That's not a big enough reason. Let them listen to the Chazan, and that's it. That's what he writes. Correct? Right. Or the same thing could be if the night of Yom Kippur, same thing. If the lights go out and part of the davening, so you didn't say Shemona Esrei, you can put the lights. He also quotes in the footnote, they say name of Aaron Cutler, you have the goy put on the lights to people that the Rabbi can learn, not one person, but the lights out of the base medrash. You have the goy put it on. Quotes it over here. I remember once in a while you base medrash on Shavuos night. All of a sudden, at 12 o'clock, all the lights went out in the base medrash. Base medrash is full, lights go out. So it says over here, where are we here? Folks. First, Talmud told Rabbi. They caught in the Aaron Cutler, they permitted a guy to put on the lights of the base medrash for Talmud Torah Rabbi. Rabbi writes, for your person, Talmud Torah, it's explicit in the Mishnah Berurah and Shin Zion, Sifkat Yud Beis, that Sifkat Yud Test, that it is awesome. Fine. So we rely on the Rala Ita for public things. Okay? So again, 1 was somebody sick, 2 was Yeshiva Eretz Yisrael, and 3 was what? A public michshol or mitzvah. Okay, now, anybody ever learn Masechah Shabbos or Mishnayos? Right? So the last parak of Shabbos, Misha Hilchos, 24, talks about you're on the road and it's Friday, you don't make it home in time, and all of a sudden it gets dark. Correct? So these halachas are quoted in Reish Samach Vav Sif Aleph. So you have your wallet, new, so you don't want to leave your wallet in the middle of nowhere. You're allowed to tell the guy, here, here's my wallet, please take it home, and I'll get it for you after Shabbos. Amir la'akum is mutter. It's called Zmano Bohu. That's the halacha over here. This is in Reish Samach Vav Seif Aleph. Chaber writes, place, one moment. I realize I'm running out of time. Writes over here, you can give it to the guy, right? Period. So he writes here, even though the guy is going to carry it on Shabbos, the Chacham Rameko, because if you don't permit him to do this, he might end up carrying it himself. Okay, period. Tov. So